Well, hello, this is Outnumbered Overtime. OT, baby! Jerry Baker has never seen me do that. And he's joining us. He is the editor-in-chief of Wall Street Journal. And I hope I haven't scared you, but that's how we roll here on OT.
Well, I'm a big sports fan. I love American sports. I love football, as I call it. We used to, when I grew up, what you call soccer is what we call football. I've got used to calling that soccer, but I love football. I'm a New York Giants fan, I'm afraid. It wasn't such a good weekend last weekend, but no, it's a great pleasure to be here, and thank you for the hand signals.
So our heads are down because we're already scrolling through our social media. So we're live on Facebook and on the web, Outnumbered Overtime, where our viewers can weigh in and let us know what they think about the show, and then usually they let us know pretty quickly what the hottest topics of the show were. Harris, you got Overtime up yet?
I have them both up, actually. We have a very healthy input right now. You know, and I'm just going to kind of look at trends. There is a trend here about getting ready for the next debate. And having anchored one of those, I'm just curious from your perspective about how the moderator situation should be. Does it need to change? I mean, look, this is less about Lester Holt and more about getting the most information we can for the American voter.
I agree. And it's a shame when it's like a referee in a good sports game. You shouldn't, the really best referees should be basically invisible. You shouldn't, it's not about them. They shouldn't be very prominent. And I think Lester Holt did make himself rather prominent. Look, it's Martha Raddatz, I think, next time for the next debate.
Cooper, right?
And Anderson Cooper, you're right. So it is the two of them, somewhat different. Look, I don't think anybody's really in any doubt that pretty well all the media, mainstream media, skews to the left. They're liberals. They've got to do a better job of at least trying to be fair. That's what was so disappointing about Lester Holt. He didn't even really try.
Well, and he capitulated to the narrative that had already started via Matt Lauer, because Matt Lauer tried to ask questions about the emails of Hillary Clinton, and he got spanked pretty hard. So I think he fell prey to that. And so
no one seemed to mind Lester Holt's one-sided performance there. And, I agree. I think when Lester Holt was invisible, the debate was better. And I think there's enough for these two to go.
He has an invisibility cloak?
He did during. I mean, there were huge chunks of time where he just sat there and filed his nails and did his taxes.
Yeah, that was really good. That first 20 minutes or so, when they kind of went at each other, it was like a real debate. Instead of these stilted, you've got 90 seconds for this and 90 seconds for response. By the way, which was when Sandra and I did debates in the primaries. There were 9 candidates in my debate and multiple candidates in Sandra's debate. It was hard to get a real discussion going because they all had to have their set piece. They, in this general presidential debate, you've got 2 candidates, and they were allowed to have time, allowed to go at each other. And exactly as Kennedy said, when Holt got out of the way, that was the best stuff. That was the best part of the debate.
Yeah, but then he stayed out of the way a lot, maybe too much.
To where he
then only piped up. Yeah, he only piped up.
But he only fact-checked. He fact-checked Trump. I don't know. Like 10 times, and Hillary
and he followed up
something,
6.
And it was, look.
0 for her.
Can I ask you a question? I have a concern that President Obama was present and a guest at Martha Raddatz's wedding. Anderson Cooper has shown himself to interject his own politics when he interviews people, and in many different ways that has been showcased in the past few months. I'm concerned about these two as choices, and I know they're moderating a town hall, which is different, but what is it going to take to get some people that haven't donated to the Clinton Foundation, aren't socializing and inviting politicians to your weddings? Like, what does it take to get a true journalist?
Well, you only have to wait another week or so after that when Chris Wallace will be hosting the final debate.
But it's two missed opportunities.
A plug for Fox News. Look, I agree with you, Megan, and I think it's what contributes to so much distrust that people have of the media right now, right? They do know. You're absolutely right in that, the closeness between so many of these liberal media types and prominent Democratic politicians, and you've only got to see, you see it all the time with Hillary and Bill Clinton too. They are very close. And by the way, that gravy train of people who were journalists who then end up working for the Democratic president, Jay Carney, and there's so many. So people are cynical about it, understandably, because they don't trust the media, and that's a great shame. But I'm not just saying this because it's Fox News and it's Chris. But that, I do think that third debate that Chris Wallace is hosting, Chris is a tremendous politician, respected by both, a tremendous journalist, respected by both sides. That should be a really good, substantive and fair.
Well, we get 1 out of 4. I get 1 out of 4.
I have to say, though, in fairness, I've seen Anderson Cooper go after Hillary Clinton. I really haven't. He's pressed her on things in ways like he's got a confidence with her, and maybe it's because they have a personal relationship, but he's thumbed down on her a bit in ways that I have not seen other journalists do. And I think the whole Lester Holt thing was a reaction to Matt Lauer. I think Matt Lauer's whole thing was a reaction to Chuck Todd and Andrea Mitchell.
Yeah, I really do. I mean, that capitulation to not even bring up the emails organically once as the moderator.
She got in his head.
Yeah. I know too much about Anderson Cooper and his politics, which he has showcased on television, and I just wish it was more like a Chris Wallace one, where I just don't know that much about your background. You haven't donated. You're not hanging out in the Hamptons with a bunch of hardcore liberals all the time.
Well, that's why I suggested the video should be off-planet.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll move on. Okie222, student loans are not a government issue. Wake up, America. I'm reading from our live chat now because we talked a little bit about that. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, they are a government issue if they become, say, if you have a situation where many students default and essentially the government is holding the guarantee, as it often is with a lot of these student loans. So, and this is a big problem. There's a huge amount of student debt. A lot of students are taking on this debt. They're not completing their courses, or they're unable to somehow to repay the loan. And again, because you have a lot of them, not all of them, a lot of them have guarantees from various government agencies, and the government is on the hook for at least part of the loan. So it is a big problem. And the whole problem of student debt is a big problem. Private colleges in this country are phenomenally expensive.
And there's no incentive for these colleges to lower tuition or cut administration. And that's where so much of the money goes on college campuses. It's not to new programs. It's not to research facilities. It's not to professors. It's to administrators. And they take up a bulk of that tuition. And, and there really is, it's not a free market system. They are not subjected to the forces of the free market. And it does a great disservice to people who matriculate.
So Mary Jo Fundock on Facebook says, I don't agree in free college. It won't be free. It will be taxpayer funded. And I have already paid for my college and my children's. Millennials, it is a lie. Don't fall for it. You will pay for it.
Do you have any of those shout-outs? I'm watching from wherever.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Texas weighing in right now. Send us where you're writing in from. We do like to give shout-outs.
And on our live chat again, I'm just going to kind of tick down topic to topic as it comes up. S. Bartnez, I think is how you say it. Hillary has apologized for using the server, but she has never apologized for lying about using the server.
She hasn't apologized for using the server. She's apologized for using what she calls private email. Yeah. And she tries to tie it to the exact same thing Nicole Powell does.
Apologize. She said, I made a mistake.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that counts as an apology.
Good point. All right.
We got South Dakota, Alaska, Wisconsin, Manchester, New Hampshire.
Hey, all on Facebook
California,
Live.
Oklahoma. I feel like I'm singing a song over here.
Coast to coast.
Okay.
Anybody from overseas?
Fed Up and Liquid.
Hey, from
Anybody
Florida.
watching from my old
Is anyone watching from overseas? Please give us a shout.
Fed Up and Liquid writes, politicians, media, insurance companies. I can't figure out who I hate the most.
What about unions?
I don't know. Maybe there was a character.
It is true. Journalists generally find themselves at the bottom of that long list of people don't trust.
So
somewhere beneath, door-to-door sales.
This particular question, Jeffrey Brueggemann brings up. Comey has no integrity. He knew his recommendation would be the decision. It was all for show. The American people cannot even trust the FBI to do the right thing anymore. Has he sullied his reputation?
I think he has. Look, I think again, to be fair to Comey, and Comey was very widely respected. Remember, he worked in the Bush administration. He was trusted by Republicans a lot. To be fair he's getting it from both sides, right? Okay, because I tell you one thing, and this isn't widely talked about, but the Democrats, Hillary was furious, and Hillary's team were furious with Comey's famous press conference back in July, I think July the 5th, when he said he wasn't going to indict her, but he then laid out this extraordinary public bill of indictment, if not formal indictment, against her about how she'd been negligent and reckless, careless with her emails. And they thought that was the worst of all. They thought that was the worst outcome because they never thought he was going to indict her, and I don't think he was. They never thought he was going to indict her, but they didn't expect him to come out and really, really, really give her that kind of a
malign her character.
The damage that he did there. Republicans, on the other hand, think he should have indicted her. So
you can't have it both ways. I mean, I think that's everyone's problem with this. It's that, like you said, he goes after, and I think think it was like 20 minutes long, talking about basically every single reason why what she did was illegal. Doesn't indict her.
But he couldn't find the evidence to indict her.
But everyone associated with it gets immunity. Every single person attached to the Clinton Foundation, you get immunity. You're never going to have to.
I
want to get this one in real quickly because they actually, one viewpoint says, I want to ask one lucky guy a question. So this is specifically for you. What does the hashtag one lucky guy think about the October surprise coming up?
Well, that's a good question. So that's a very good question. There are two categories of October surprise. There's the October surprise that we're kind of expecting, and that I think is probably more of leaks from the Democrats' emails that whoever it was, whether you believe the Democrats and it was the Russians or whoever it was, came out, if you remember, just before the Democratic
What about other
National
leaks
Convention.
that we?
We could have other leaks, but we know. I mean, WikiLeaks have said they are definitely going to.
So that's the one category.
So that's one category, and then the other one is something we just don't know about completely. What happens? Something
that either
just
campaign
lands.
could have in their pocket that they're going to expose when they feel the time is right.
Yeah.
By the way, after you asked that question, Scotland and Australia, we had viewers right in from.
That's awesome. Facebook Live. We love that.
Yeah,
Jerry Baker, Wall Street Journal.
Thank you.
Come back anytime.
So good to have you.
Thank you very much for having me. Thank you.
We'll see everybody tomorrow.
Thank you.